Hey guys, John here. Good to see you. Good to be back. Last weekend, wife and I went up northern Maine, did some snowmobiling. Had a blast. Got to watch the Super Bowl in a nice cabin. But we're back in the garage. Yesterday was a good day. We went and saw our sponsors, Greg at Manic Motorsports. Ordered a tether. That came out of the off-road generic suppliers. It's just a push-pull, kind of like on your snowmobile with a lanyard. That's required by the rules. We got some parts in. I'm going to pan around and show you what we got for parts. Hopefully today and tomorrow, being a long weekend and warmer, we're going to spend some time out here in the shop and get our steering. So let me pan around. So here's what we have. Now, some of this came from, some of it came from Amazon. Some came from Speedway Motors. I find Speedway, they're a little more expensive, but they offer a great product. One of the things we bought was a quick disconnect steering wheel assembly. 3/4 hollow shaft, some 3/4 stop collets. Those came from Amazon. 3/4 weld-on universal. I know some people have used Chevy rag joints. I've seen people use 1/2-inch drive sockets. There's absolutely nothing wrong with any method. I went with this for ease of fabricating, and it was in the budget. I got some real thin sheet metal. Well, sheet metal. It's almost sheet metal. Bar stock to make the template for the pitman arm. The steering wheel is a 15-inch, standard 3-inch deep. That came from Amazon as well. Now, I could have very well made the bracket to go from the steering shaft to the steering wheel. And I'd given it a thought as to how I was going to do it. Use a piece of pipe, slip it over the shaft, weld a flat plate, grind the flat plate round, transfer the holes. It's not that difficult, but again, it was in the budget they were on sale. The quick release came with the little weld-on shaft for like $45. And when you're talking race car parts, it's pretty cheap. So that's where we're at. So hopefully I'll get some stuff marked up. We also, as last time I showed you, we mounted the battery. And there's the new battery tank. We also yesterday took a field trip. Went up to MP Motorsport. Those guys are phenomenal as far as their knowledge and their help. So we went and saw Mark, and Mark showed me some pictures of his steering, and he did the same thing. I also got some transmission parts. The 700 that we bought with the Bobcat walk behind had the core splined output shaft, which is not a big deal. A little bit harder to find sprockets, so I was able to get some fine spline shafts and additional keys from Mark. Excuse me. Then I went over and saw Phil. Again, Phil's a good guy. We took a tour, went through some of his projects, and we were able to look at Sears Craftsman, just like this one that's under construction, and took the measurements from the center line of the drive spindle to the leading edge of the transmission plate. So if we get the steering done, that's going to be the next step, is to get the transmission plate in and start going from there. So stay tuned for more. There's Hey, keeping track of our progress. One of the other things we bought we bought a clear fuel tank. That way we can keep track of how much fuel just by quickly looking at it before we go out for a heat. Also, today's plan is to mount the dashboard, get that bolted in place with temp hardware. See where we mounted the bearing. The rules say that you got to come through the original opening at the original angle. I talked to Tom down in Connecticut, wicked nice guy, president of our association, and as it comes through at that 20-degree angle, that universal is going to allow us to go straight down through the frame. Reason being is you want your pitman arm to travel in the same plane as your tie rod. That way there isn't any binding. If we left it at 20 degrees, you'd have it moving in an upward arc, causing it to bind. So that's the plan for this weekend. I'm going to get a couple of things tacked up and fit in place, and I'll get back to you. So I decided not to make the template out of steel, make it out of cardboard, just because I'm lazy and didn't want to drill two 3/4-inch holes. I went online, and EC Carburetor sells one. It's a couple of bucks. I think it's like $8 plus shipping, but it's something that's easy to make, quick and easy to lay out. And theirs was kind of cheesy. Be quite frank, it was a little on the thin side, but I did take the measurements. Remember when you're drilling center to center distance holes and you're calculating the length, both Haymo and EC have the center of the 3/4 hole to the center of the 3/8 hole. So let me show you what we did. So we laid out, there we go. We laid out the 2 1/4 measurement, laid out a couple of radiuses, cut it out. There's my pitman arm. Transferred the pitman arm template to some 3/16 flat bar. Next step is to cut it out and drill some holes, and then we can start to fit the tubing. So here we are at the end of the day. We've cut, we've ground, we've fit, we made templates. I'm a big enough guy to admit when I'm wrong. There is no right or wrong answer to building your own racing lawnmower. There's what works and what doesn't work. I saw a lot of mowers that had a pillow block bearing at the base of their steering shaft, and now I know why. Let me show you where I went astray. So here we go. We got our universal in, we got our bushing in, we got our upper bushing in, and when we take the steering shaft, it does one of these. So we're going to regroup. We're going to order the pillow block bearing like we've seen other people do. There's plenty else to do. I think tomorrow what we'll do is we'll step away from steering and work on the fenders, do some welding. There's plenty to do. So until I get a pillow block bearing, we're kind of at a standstill with the steering, but we'll keep pushing forward. I'll actually see you tomorrow. I'm going to do some more work tomorrow. Thanks, and we'll see you later.